to another edition of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian Noel. Very special guest today. I got to admit, I'm pretty excited. He was even in the opening credits. No stranger to New Mexico. He was New Mexico's fastest man for the 4 years he was here. Earned a bunch of nicknames like, Mr. Blur, things like that. But probably the most important thing, he was my very first guest on the show. That's got to be near the top, right, Jordan?
Yes,
Jordan
sir.
Byrd is my guest.
Oh,
Welcome
yeah.
back, man.
Thanks for having me.
What a season, man. And we'll get into all that, but, you just got finished. Did you think you would see the finish line? I mean, with COVID and...
No, I mean, honestly, it was kind of hard to say, because a lot of things changed since COVID hit. It started, well, we found out in March when we didn't know when we were going to be back. It was just so hard, going back home and just training just for a season we might not have. And then when we found out the news that we were going to have a season, it was kind of good. Just to play 8 games, it's kind of hard to play 8 games because, all that pounding on your bodies and stuff. But it was really good to experience it. The year didn't really count, so it was good to give scouts and NFL scouts and everything something they could look at. And I'll be a junior again next year, so it'll be pretty good.
So let's start there, because San Diego State, I mean, that's a place that just pumps out running backs into the league. So I think that says a lot about you, not only one that they recruited you to begin with, but for a running back to go there, you're going to have to work because that place is just full of running backs, right?
Yes,
so talk
sir.
about that. As soon as you arrive, talk about the vibe in the room, so many talented players at that position.
Yeah, they treated me like family. Any running back that comes in, they treat you like family. There's never beef in the running back room. We all love each other. Even at practice, we're all competitive. So we're always challenge each other to do something at practice. And that changes us in the game, and it just keeps the fun in football. And when you get into the higher level of football, it gets more of like a job and a business. But being around those guys, they kept me mellow and keep you motivated to even play. A lot of kids don't get the opportunity to get that.
I would say that has to be probably the most competitive position group in the conference for sure, but maybe even in that whole western part of the states is San Diego State's running back room. So have you ever been in anything that ultra competitive? I mean, because there's skins on the wall there, right?
Yeah.
You know who's in the league.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, especially with the shoes we had to fill in, with Rashad Penny and Darnell Pumphrey, coming from those guys, a lot of the fans, they do expect us to do better, and we always practice enough to push ourselves, especially with Greg Bell. He was injured most of the season, but he always pushed us to do good. And then when he came back, we were really excited to have him back.
I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say that any running back at San Diego State that's 3, 4, 5 on the depth chart probably would be number 1 anywhere else in the conference, right?
Yeah, I feel you. But with our running back group, we always have a rotation.
Right.
We never our coach never wants anybody to be tired out there or injured. So I feel like the rotation is good. You can't always get the ball, so there's always going to be one running back that gets more touches than the other one in certain games. So it just depends on how you do.
And it seems like the parts are very interchangeable too. You guys all do everything well. But with that being said, an outstanding freshman year, co-outstanding freshman for the team. So talk about that before we get into the football side. You also go to school in the most beautiful place in the world,
Yeah.
San Diego,
Oh,
California.
Yeah, I love it out
So
there.
give us some first impressions of that.
It's pretty good. My first 2 years when I was there, I didn't really get to experience what San Diego was because I didn't have no car or anything, and I knew people, but I didn't really know them that well to be around like that. But just now, just getting to see San Diego, it's really a good fit for me. With the team, the people I surround myself with, they really kept me mellow.
You had the longest run of the year for the team that year was a 72-yard run against Boise State. So take us into that game. That game was kind of your coming out party there. You had a huge game. Just kind of what was going through your mind there?
Just that whole week had me nervous because our coach, he told me and our other freshmen that we were going to be playing a lot more of that game and we needed to focus up because I think Juwan Washington was hurt that game. And so he always told me during the week, when you're in, get your opportunity to shine. And I got my opportunity and I made it happen. And it was just crazy because that play that we drew up that I scored on, we worked on it all week and we knew it was going to be a special play and it ended up being one.
Shortly thereafter, You come home versus UNM. That had to be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it wasn't when we came out there. I actually fumbled that game when we played UNM.
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but you know, I mean, if you bring it
Yeah, I
up, that's
gotta
on
bring
you,
up
man.
mistakes,
That's
too,
on you,
yeah.
my man.
Yeah, I was trying to score, but it was just a big mistake.
I remember that game because we couldn't go. A lot of us wanted to go to it. We couldn't go to it that night. We were actually downstairs in the studio, and we had a seating and selection show that day where we were releasing the brackets for the playoffs. And I remember because I had my iPad. I was watching the game on the iPad.
Yeah.
And so we're giving out the brackets. I got my iPad watching the game here. But what's that week like, man, when you come home? That's got to be a big week.
Oh yeah, especially like when fans come out and they're telling you, oh, it's gonna be a good game and stuff. Especially when you play again or play around your family and friends again. You know, it's kind of different with a different group. Like not playing with Malzahn, it was kind of different coming to New Mexico with a different team.
So when you do come home, what's the home cooking, right? What's the one thing you got mom to dial up?
Actually, my grandma. I always have her cook up.
What does she dial up?
Apple pie. It's one of my favorites. She cooks it for me every time. You know, it's really good.
So, I mean, freshman year, was it what you expected? Did you exceed? What was your mindset at the end of that freshman year?
I feel like I could have done a little bit more, you know, but being a freshman, you still got to get your feet wet. You know, a lot of kids never got the opportunity as a freshman. They always redshirt, but I got the opportunity to play, so I feel like that helped me into being where I am right now.
And how was that? I mean, was redshirting in your mind? Was that ever on the table? Are you glad you didn't? What was that?
Me and my coach, we never talked about it. You know, during our spring or our fall camp, he saw me excel and see what I could do against our defense, and then he thought I was a really good fit for our offense, and I showed him that I could. And
then lastly, what's the offseason like? Again, I'm gonna go back to that running back room, but what's the offseason like in such a competitive environment with so many studs?
We always got to be first. That's our main thing, you know. Our coach always wants us to motivate ourselves to be better, even if it's running against wide receivers or DBs. He always wants us to be first, even though they might be faster than us. He still wants us to push it. So even if we're running against linemen, he always wants us to be first. So it's something that we always want, and it's been a good fit for us.
So most of the offseason you stay there in San Diego, get better there, or would you come home a little bit, or what?
I come home sometimes. Like right now, I came for 2 weeks, and then I go back to school, and then we have a winter camp, so winter workout. So then after that, I think that's like 3 weeks.
Well, I could see, you know, like running and getting better on the San Diego beach or running at Tingley Beach. I mean, I could see where you would lean towards one, right?
I feel you, yeah. But it's really nice. I like to be back home, too. It's really good.
We'll take our first time out, come right back with San Diego State Aztec Jordan Byrd.
And there's some of those yards right there, right up the middle, and he's looking at an easy run, one man to beat, beats him for the touchdown. 45-yard touchdown by Ortiz.
First down and goal from the 10. Play action and a fade to the end zone. And well, there he is.
Block punt. Let's see if the Mustangs can scoop and score. Scoop and score the touchdown with Western New Mexico. Number 20, CJ Bionis. Out of the play fake. Throwing to Colson in the end zone.
Touchdown.
Touchdown.
The hot man, and why not? Looking hot, looking into the end zone, and his second touchdown already.
Pulls, headed in, and that's 2-0. And I think it's Johnson, and it is. So third down and goal, and it's a keeper for Smith. He broke a tackle, and he's into the end.
Holy fumble. Hit double.
Head is one, look out, Garcia's loose. Garcia to goal for the lead, 1-0.
Go play action, rolling out to the right. Now he's going to run with it and break some tackles. Lowers his head into the end zone. What a run by Isaiah Chavez. Wow.
We're back with Jordan Byrd, the very first guest on that. You could say that he built this thing. Like, we were just like super low budget. We were sitting against a brick wall in a corner. Do you remember all that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
So we get to your sophomore year, and that's really when you start doing a little of everything: the carries, the catches, the punt returns, the kick returns. Did you know your role would be bigger heading into that season?
I kind of knew it was. My dad always told me just to try your hardest at practice. That's where everything starts with. And starting with that, I showed the coaches what I could do, and they believed in me, and the team did too.
So we get to your first start, and it was at running back against the finest public institution known to man, UCLA. And so, I mean, take us through that week. What you knew you were going to start, right? So
Yeah,
take us through the week.
It was good, especially that's one of the dream places I wanted to be in was the Rose Bowl. So it was really cool to start in the Rose Bowl. You know, people never got the opportunity, and having that opportunity was really, really cool. You know, I don't think I scored that game, but I had some really good runs. It was really cool to have memories of that.
And you did a little both. You had the 10 carries, you had the 4 receptions. What was that environment like when you got to the Rose Bowl?
It was beautiful. You know, the grass was different. You know, it looked like turf, but it was grass. But it was really nice. That's what really caught my eye.
A little bit of added, you know, I mean, I know everyone that plays on the West Coast, they kind of really, you know, they get up for the games against the California schools, really, you know, because you guys pride yourselves in being the best team in California. So I know when you guys have the chance to play a UCLA and a USC, a little bit of extra, you know, to get it on them.
Yeah, you know, I didn't find out that San Diego State had like a chip on their shoulder. So when
they
I
do.
got
Just
there,
get on. I mean, I go on social media and it's like, man, they are the kings of California.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a big thing to them, right? When you're facing in-state schools.
Yes, sir. It sure is. You know, it's always a rivalry. You know, any school we play in California, we always wanted to beat them.
And then the big game against New Mexico State. So you're home again, but this time, you know, a little bit down south. That was a huge game. 22 carries, over 100 yards. Talk about that.
The only thing about that game is I couldn't breathe. It was I don't know why. Just coming from San Diego back to home, that whole game I just could not breathe. But I guess I had a good game there.
Yeah. And you've always played well. I remember I did a game in Cruces that you played really well, and so. But what was that like? Because I know a lot of people made the trip from Albuquerque down south.
Yeah. You know, my family came out there too, so it was really cool. You know, my nephew finally got to really see when I could play, and that really motivated him to play football. So he started flag and everything, so it was pretty cool.
So where's he at now? What age is he?
He's 5 years old now.
All right, so
he's a little athletic now.
So I'm sure after this airs, you know, coaches are gonna start recruiting, right?
Oh, I hope
get that first letter from La Cueva, then from Cleveland.
Oh yeah,
right?
I hope he goes somewhere nice.
You started again against Utah State, and that's kind of when you had an early. Now, was that the game? Was that where you left on a cart? And the next thing, I turned the channel. I'm like, all right, no, enough of that.
Yeah.
And then I turned it back, and there you are again in the second half.
Yeah,
right?
I sprained my ankle and had to get a cortisone shot in it. So, and then they taped it up, and I said, I'll be able to play because that's one thing I know. The only way I'm going off the field is if a part of my body's missing. So I ended up going back on the field and playing.
And then you kind of battled a little bit of a hamstring issue later in that year too. We'll talk about that, man. Having to rehab and go through all that stuff, get your body right. And oh, by the way, you're still going to class and all that stuff. I mean, that's got to be a lot on your plate, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, college is always going to be hard. You're never going to have one time it's not going to be hard. But you know, when I had my hamstring, I was trying to come back to play UNLV, but the coaches gave me an opportunity just to heal up and get ready for the next week. But it was kind of hard to come back from it. You know, just always worrying about, I'm going to pull a hamstring or something. But I got over that bump, and I did well.
The season capped off with the New Mexico Bowl. That had to be pretty special for you.
Oh, yeah, especially going back to New Mexico with Rocky Long. We didn't know it was going to be his last season with us, but it was really cool to come back there and play and have a good game.
Now, I got to ask you, obviously when you're with the guys, there's a certain amount of camaraderie, right? And you're a sophomore at this point, and yeah, you're doing good things, but like when they see you roll into your hometown and it's like the Jordan Byrd show, that had to be pretty cool,
yeah.
right?
It was pretty cool.
What were some of your guys telling you, like, man, you really are a stud out here?
Yeah.
Like, tell me some stories about that.
Yeah, they always call me Mr. New Mexico. Even Keyshawn calls me that, but I was like, nah, that's not me. I always call him Mr. New Mexico.
Okay.
So,
So what was that week like for you and Key, man? Because that had to be huge, man. When every media outlet out here wants to talk to you two. You had the bus, people lined up when you guys get off the bus. And, they weren't just welcoming Rocky back. It was for you and Key, too.
Yeah.
That had to be pretty cool. Talk about that.
it was cool, especially playing with Keyshawn. Ever since I've been in New Mexico, I've always played against him. Even when we were in Yaffle and stuff, it was always against each other. So it was really cool to come back to New Mexico and play together.
Was it hard to stay focused that week? I mean, is everyone hitting you up for tickets and like, hey, I want to say hi, like all that kind of nonsense? Or like, what was that week like?
It wasn't too bad because a lot of my friends knew that I was already going to stay home after the game. So it was pretty cool to have them at the game too. I had a couple tickets I got from the team.
Like, did coach have to tell you, okay, you can be Mr. New Mexico on Monday and Tuesday, but after that, we got to get ready for a game? Anything like that?
No, since it was a bowl game, they didn't really worry about all that stuff.
So now you New Mexico Bowl, and didn't you go to a bowl the year before that?
Frisco. Yeah, that was in the.
And now you got some pretty cool swag. I remember the cowboy hat and everything.
Yeah, we had a cowboy hat.
So talk about, what's the bowl experience? That's the cool part of the experience that I think a lot of people don't know about, right? It is a pretty different week for you guys, right?
Yeah, it is. It's not really like a week to like always be serious. It's sometimes.
You still, by the way, never sent me that picture in the cowboy hat. I'm still waiting.
Yeah, I gotta.
The state still wants to see Mr. New Mexico in a cowboy hat.
I don't really wear hats. That's one thing I don't wear is hats, but I'll try to get a picture with it.
So, like, and Jeff, I know Jeff Symbieta does a great job with the New Mexico Bowl. Really makes it a special week for you guys. Talk about some of that stuff.
It was cool. The stuff that we did, I already did, but it was cool to see like the team really like enjoy it. A lot of people are like, what's in New Mexico? Like, what do we do in New Mexico? And once we did like all the events, they really like, well, dang, there's something out here in New Mexico. Like,
there is stuff to do, right?
Yeah, I feel you.
We're gonna take another time out here. We'll talk to Jordan about his previous year that he just finished up when we get back.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Back with Jordan Byrd. Now we'll get into your junior year here. You were on the Paul Hornung Award watch list for the most versatile player to start the year. That's got to be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it was shocking for me. I didn't really get that many touches my sophomore year to get that award. But when I showed my dad that award, he told me that I need to get a bigger award. So I need to step up in the
Just like
game.
a parent.
Oh,
Just like a parent.
Yep. He gives me my credit, but he always tells me I can do better.
So your season starts against UNLV. You had some carries, some receptions. You were doing everything. I mean, talk about what did you notice in your own game, your own body, and your own just maturity changing from your sophomore year to your junior year?
Oh yeah, I feel like I've matured a lot more, especially playing my freshman year to junior. I felt like I knew the game. Like I know what's the reads and everything now going into film, looking at what I need to look at, and like just watching film on my own too, just looking at what the defense does on like 3rd down and 4th down, or maybe even like 1st down. So just stuff like that, it really matured.
Second game of the season, and I think Josh has this highlight, so he'll get that ready, was against Utah State, big carry. And we're going to watch this. There's not any sound in this, so you'll have a chance to talk us through this highlight here. But you've had a couple of these, and like, we talked about the social, like San Diego State has better social media following than most schools. Yeah. And when you break a big one, man, like they're all over it, right?
Yes,
so let's
sir.
take a look at this. Josh, you have that? Let's take us through this, Jordan. What you see here?
Honestly, this whole play, my coach was like, "I'm about to throw you in. You better score." Said, "Hit your head on that pylon." I said, "Sure." And then I ran onto the right side. That's one of our strongest side with Billy Dunkel, and that's one of my best friends. So I knew it was gonna be a big hole to open up.
Courtesy of CBS Sports there on that highlight. Third game of the season, San Jose State. I want to talk about it only to highlight like the highs and lows of a season. Like so we're watching all these games, man. I'm so pumped. You had that 73-yarder. Then game 3. Take us to the end of that game.
Oh man, it was kind of bad. A lot of players get that. Even NFL players go through that stuff. And I got a lot of hate after, but I knew that's how the football life is.
And that's why I want to talk about it, because like you go from this hero, you break off this huge run, and then in the next game, the camera doesn't leave you, but it's for all the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah,
so talk about how your guys picked you up. How did you pick yourself up? How did you, tell?
Yeah, they all know that job is hard. Being a punt returner, that's one of the hardest jobs in football. You have 11 guys running at you, and you're looking up at one ball and worrying about who's gonna make good blocks and who's not. And I took the job, and they believed that I could do it. And that's just how football is. Things happen, but during that week, my coach sent the film to, I think, NCAA rules or something like that, and they found out that the guy never gave me space to catch the ball, so it should have been a flag, but that's just how football is, and you just got to move on to the next week.
In typical Jordan Byrd fashion, though, the next game was a good one. So you get to Hawaii, your confidence is still where it needs to be. And talk about how important that is to rebound, get out there the next week, and just go back at it.
Oh yeah, always in life you can never have a fallback. You always got to push over that bump. You like what my coach always says. You got a rearview mirror, but you always look forward. So even looking forward in a car, that's the journey you're gonna get.
Take us to a highlight here against Colorado State. This is later in the year. Now, I believe this has led to Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Week award. Take us through this play here. What did you see?
My coach was kind of mad at me how I caught the ball almost to the sideline. He thought I was gonna step out of bounds, but after that play, he was like, "I can't get mad at you." So it was really cool. I honestly didn't see the kicker almost get me, so I just saw that after the film.
There isn't a kicker on the planet that could catch Jordan Byrd. We were watching that game actually at a buddy's place, and we saw that. As soon as I saw that angle, I was like, "There's no way. There's no way. It's not gonna happen. I've seen this film before. I know how this ends. There's just no way." If you would have gotten caught from behind by a kicker, well, you wouldn't be sitting right there.
Oh yeah,
I'll tell you that right now. I would have lost that number.
Oh yeah, trust me. Every time we watch film, even if I don't get a chance to score or anything, my coach always tells me, "Do not get caught by the kicker."
Yeah, and that didn't happen there. That's a big, that courtesy of CBS Sports there again. If you look at it, Josh played it back a couple of times. Like the kicker took a swing, but like that angle, you can't see how far behind you he really was.
Oh, yeah.
When they replayed it from a side angle, you could see like he was taking a swing at some air. Like this angle is not the best angle for that, but no, there wasn't a chance he was going to catch you. So, obviously you guys got in a full, your full slate, which is not a lot of teams out west got in as many games as you guys, right? So, you're sitting in a really good place right now as far as your confidence and your game. So, what goes into this offseason preparing for the next?
Just a lot of work on offense. We got a new offensive coordinator. We did good with him. We just got to make more improvements. We got a couple new quarterbacks too coming in, a lot of new freshmen coming in. So, they got to show what they can do. Coming from a COVID season like this, only having 8 games, gives us a good look on what we need to work on.
Career numbers up to 5.3 yards a carry, 24.2 yards per kick return. That's half a first down right there.
Oh, so. Yeah, yes, sir.
What, before we talk, I do want to talk about how COVID affected the team and stuff, but I want to get into something we talked about earlier. San Diego State pumps them into the pros, right? Especially at your position. When does that start to enter your mind? Is that something you think about the moment you stepped on campus? Something you think about more now that you become an upperclassman? When did that, take me through that.
Being a junior now, I kind of look at it, you know, a lot of some recruits have been talking to me, agents and stuff, but I try to put that to the side and worry about Aztec football. That's one thing you got to worry about.
Tell me about that culture, man, because that's a pretty special place. Like, they have done something pretty amazing there, not only, you know, football-wise, but, you know, even basketball. Now Coach Dutcher obviously taking over, but, you know, they kind of do pride themselves on being, you know, that people don't give them the love, but they kind of have been dominating the state, right? In a couple of sports. So, I mean, just talk about the culture of San Diego State football.
Just having a culture, you know, the fans love it too. So the culture of Aztec being an Aztec is really nice. You know, a lot of the sports always dominate, you know. With the track team, the girls track team, you don't have a boys, but they dominate softball. Everybody dominates in the Aztec way.
Now, one more thing I want to talk about was before you guys came back you played in the cold this year, right, at the end of the season, and that was right after you turned into a media darling.
Yeah.
Right? They had you out in front of the cameras, and you're talking about, no, it's cool. I ran in the cold. I was used to all this stuff. So, I mean, obviously your role on the team is growing. That's got to be pretty cool. Talk about that.
In that game, I had a concussion. I think around the second half. I ended up getting a concussion, and the cold wasn't really that bad. You know, it was, I think, 13 out there.
But you were used to it, right? Early in the week, media availability, you were out talking to the media about that?
Yeah, you know, I told the running backs, like, we're not going out there with no shirts on. Like, that's one thing we're not going to do, because if you have a shirt on, it's going to mess up our game. But we went out there, and we made it fun, you know, before the game. Before the game, we actually walked around BYU Utah and just saw how beautiful it was, and the snow, because a lot of the California kids never seen snow, so it was really cool to let them see snow.
So, you know, have you had a chance to reflect on, you know, you go from freshman getting into 11 games, limited touches, to now, you know, you're in front of the media, your role has grown every year. That's got to be very self-gratifying. I know probably you don't reflect on that until after you're done, but your role has grown every year. Do you ever take time to think about that?
Not really. I always set like the social media stuff aside, because I never wanted to like
smart
get to
man.
my head. Yeah.
Smart man.
So yeah, I always let my game do the talking than anything.
So what's next?
I don't know. We'll see what the COVID leads us to. So that's one thing we got to worry about is the COVID.
What has that done to you guys as a team, real quick, as we're out of time here?
Nothing really. I mean, we were one out of the 10 teams to finish all 8 games. So we had one conflict with Colorado. Some of the kids got caught with contact tracing in Colorado, so they had to stay in the hotels and stuff. But we ended up still playing because it was, I think, the false positives or something like that. So it was really good to play that game too. It was cold out there too.
Well, that's going to do it for tonight. We're already out of time, but he's gone from playing on Friday to playing on Saturday. Maybe Sunday's next. But Jordan has always made time for us at ProView Network, so that's why we're a huge Jordan Byrd house. Thanks for coming in.
Alrighty.
Good luck next year.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, everybody.
Yes,
Good night.